When the Galactic Lords executed our ambassador on live holostream, Earth didn't declare war. We opened a cell. And let him out. The moment was supposed to be ceremonial. A final confirmation of interspecies peace. A multilateral conference broadcast to over 500 planetary systems. Earth's ambassador stood with practiced calm behind a transparent podium, flanked by 2 aides in silver diplomatic garb. Above her, the Hall of Accord shimmered with banners from 23 different civilizations, the Helix Concord crest glowing in soft blue against the domed ceiling. Dignitaries and envoys lined the upper galleries, chatter hushed, attention fixed on the humans. It was supposed to be a historic day. And then Lord Shiri stepped forward and unsheathed a ceremonial blade. At first, most assumed it was symbolic. A tradition. Some planets opened treaties with blood, others with fire. A gesture, maybe? But the moment Shiri crossed the center platform, the room shifted. The blade didn't glint ceremonial. It glinted sharpened. Real. One of Earth's aides took a step back, but it was too late. With a clean, brutal arc, the blade swept across the ambassador's throat. Her body dropped. Blood pooled across the podium's base. Her aide screamed. The audience erupted in chaos. And all of it, every second, was caught on live broadcast. Shiri raised the blade high and declared, "Earth mistook courtesy for power. This is our correction." The other lords stood behind him, silent but united. A signal was given. Earth's remaining envoys were detained within minutes. Their diplomatic shuttles seized. And still the broadcast ran, streamed across trade hubs and social networks and military forums. By the time the Concordian feed was cut, the damage had already burned through every channel. Reactions came instantly. Some called it a political assassination. Others called it a preemptive war move. But Earth said nothing. No retaliatory strike. No fleet mobilization. Not even a public address. The silence was deafening. People waited. Waited for the fire. But nothing came. Then, 4 days later, something appeared. Over the capital world of Helix Prime, a single stealth drone entered the atmosphere. It was slow, deliberate, undetectable by the planetary defense grid until it chose to be seen. As it passed over the central palace, it activated a planet-wide holostream override. Every screen, every device, every public tower flickered. Across a billion eyes, the same message appeared. "This is your sentence. No further notice will be given." 3 seconds. That was all. The drone self-destructed in low orbit. Not with an explosion, just vanished cleanly. No debris. No signal trail. The Concord leaders laughed. They labeled it a bluff. A desperate scare tactic. One lord even posted a meme of a human child holding a cardboard sword captioned, "Human retaliation." Galactic social networks devoured it. The phrase, "Earth talks big," began trending. But there were those who didn't laugh. Those who'd studied human history closely. Who'd noticed a strange omission in Earth's diplomatic command structure. One asset unaccounted for. No name. No file. Just a reference in an old classified leak, Project Warden. That night, Lord Shiri died. His body was found in his private orbital suite, behind triple-sealed walls, surrounded by biometric security. Cameras cut out exactly 3 seconds before his vitals ceased. No forced entry. No weapon marks. Autopsy found no toxins. Just a phrase etched into his cortical implant from the inside. "You were heard." Galactic News tried to spin it as a freak accident. Nervous exhaustion. Brain seizure. But they didn't explain how internal implants could be overwritten without physical access. Or why Shiri's sweet AI went permanently dark. Or how the lock-sealed chamber door was never opened. Not once. Panic started to ripple. Security across the Helix Concord was upgraded. Lords increased their personal guard rotations. Some went into hiding. But the public story didn't change. Earth had gone quiet. And yet, something was moving. Something they hadn't anticipated. Not ships. Not bombs. Just one thing. 2 days later, Lord Cavan of the Trade Lattice disappeared mid-sentence during a broadcast interview. One frame he was there, mid-word. The next, his seat was empty. The only clue was the smell of burned ozone and a small, black feather on the chair. That was when whispers began. They called him a ghost. A rogue agent. A myth born in Earth's darker wars. Some believed he was AI. Others said he was a genetically tailored assassin. But the truth was simpler. He was a man. Human. Deployed not as a soldier, but as something colder. He had no name on record. No home. No rank. Just a designation buried so deep even Earth's Defense Council referred to it in silence. The Warden. He wasn't sent to win a war. He was sent to end the conversation. Permanently. Back on Earth, no statements were issued. No footage confirmed. No one even acknowledged the deaths. When pressed, a Terran official said only, "Justice has a long memory." By the end of the week, 3 lords were dead. 2 more had disappeared. And the rest stopped showing their faces in public. Fear began to curdle behind their arrogance. One lord activated full planetary lockdown, yet still vanished during a planetary blackout that lasted 6 seconds. No one knew how. No one saw anything. No sounds. No alarms. No evidence left behind. Just the same phrase, left somewhere within every kill zone. Sentence carried. At first, the lords mocked Earth for its restraint. But now, they began to understand. Earth hadn't responded with war. Earth had answered with silence. And within that silence, something had been released. They tried to counter. Surveillance satellites. Planetary traps. Bounty offers. One even hired a psychic hunter from the Earith Nebula. All of them failed. Every trail ended the same way, with the target vanishing mid-mission, or being found alive but trembling, whispering the same line. He was already in the room. The concord began to crumble from within. Alliances frayed. Paranoia took over. Lords stopped trusting their own guards. In some cases, they turned on each other. And still, no demands came. No negotiations. Just death. Measured. Surgical. Purposeful. The lords had wanted Earth to scream. To panic. But Earth did neither. Because Earth understood something the others forgot. A warden doesn't shout. He sentences. Lord Drell of the Crimson Helix did not sleep. Not since the second lord was found dead inside a secure vault. Not since the neural implant of another combusted mid-transmission with a single message seared through it. Lord Drell didn't fear death. He had overseen enough of it. But now, with his name whispered alongside words like next and marked, his arrogance had turned into obsession. He relocated to the mining moon of Varion 6, far from the core, where he converted a decommissioned refinery into a fortress. It had one entrance, for biometric layers of defense, and 20 mercenaries with orbital-class weaponry posted at every angle. His banquet chamber, located in the center of the installation, was protected by an AI-linked pulse barrier. No teleportation. No signal penetration. No mistakes. This time, he would not die quietly. The table was laid with obsidian dishes and bloodfruit wine, surrounded by hired lords and corporate backers. They toasted to strength, to the fall of Earth's bluff, and to their own survival. But Drell didn't laugh with them. His fingers tapped nervously on the steel armrest. His eyes stayed on the shadows between the walls. Every flicker of movement made him flinch, and every hum of equipment sounded like breath behind him. At the edge of the room, one of the mercenaries lifted a brow, watching the once proud lord chew his lip like a schoolboy waiting for punishment. Drell stood abruptly and barked at the guards to double the perimeter. He demanded another scan. They complied. Nothing. No movement beyond standard motion patterns. No thermal disturbances. No unauthorized entries. Still, Drell's hands trembled slightly as he raised his wineglass. He forced a smile and said, "There are no ghosts in this room. But even he didn't believe it. 3 hours later, the backup generator hummed. A harmless systems reset, routine maintenance, 2 seconds of darkness. Lights returned. And Drell was gone. The guards stormed the banquet chamber, weapons drawn. The guests screamed, some diving under the table, others frozen. Drell's chair was empty. His wineglass lay tipped over, still spinning. At first, the systems reported an error, a glitch in biometric tracking. But when they checked the cryo-storage room, they found him. Folded neatly inside a backup chamber meant for food storage, his throat carried a single, bare handprint, not bruised, but almost branded. No one had seen him leave. No door had opened. No alarm had triggered. There were no signs of struggle. Just one phrase burned into the steel wall in neat, precise letters. Sentence carried. News of Lord Drell's death shattered the outer rings. Allies began to abandon the Helix lords in waves. Embassies pulled out. Civilian sectors revolted. The lords had not only betrayed Earth, they had lost control of the story. The myth of the Warden was now stronger than their command. And myths are harder to kill. In a bar on Titan's dark side, a retired bounty tracker with one artificial eye and a metal jaw whispered a story to a room of strangers. He said he saw the Warden once, on a job gone wrong during a raid on a human facility. Said the man walked through fire without burning. Said the man never spoke, never blinked, never missed. One of the younger mercs laughed, and asked what happened next. The old man raised his glass and said, "I quit." Elsewhere, Lord Vex of the Neural Syndicate no longer left his safe room. His hideout drifted deep in a black zone orbit, encased in electromagnetic barriers and surrounded by automated drones. He trusted no one, not even himself. He ran constant self-checks to ensure no mental manipulation had occurred. Still, at night, he swore he heard breathing in the air vents. Logic failed him. Paranoia ruled him. His own AI suggested psychological breakdown. Then, on the 7th day of isolation, the lights dimmed. No explosion. No breach. Just a 2-second lapse in power. When systems returned, Vex was dead at the helm of his command desk. No wounds. No sign of entry. A symbol was drawn in fine ash behind his head, a pattern matching the one seen burned into Earth's ambassador's ceremonial flag. A playback screen activated on its own. Vex guards arrived seconds later and watched, frozen, as Earth's ambassador appeared, recorded weeks before her death, saying, "Peace is not surrender. It is courage." Then the feed shut off. Within 12 hours, 3 more planetary systems defected from the Concorde. Trade hubs refused to process Helix diplomatic codes. Contracts were shredded. Even some former allies publicly asked, "What else did Earth never reveal?" By now, it was clear Earth had never planned for an invasion. They didn't need an army. They had deployed something far more precise. A scalpel to cut out rot. Back on Earth, deep under layers of reinforced structure and encryption, there was a hallway that didn't exist on any blueprint. At the end of that hallway, behind a steel door with no lock, because locks imply entry is optional, there sat a single man. Not a prisoner. Not a guest. Just waiting. He wore no uniform. Spoke to no one. Inside his room was only a table, a set of gloves, and a mask. Cameras watched, but never recorded. No one knew how long he'd been there. Some believed decades. Others thought he never truly left. That the room was merely where he rested between judgments. When Earth's diplomat died, the Council had not argued. They had not voted. They had simply agreed. Activate the Warden. There was no need to brief him. No mission files. No orders. He already knew. That was the part that disturbed most of the handlers who worked in the lower sectors. How did he always know where to go, who to find, what to do? He never requested travel logs. Never asked for tools. He simply walked into the world and disappeared. What he brought back was never a man. It was silence. Galactic citizens who once joked about Earth's soft diplomacy now whispered warnings to their children. Don't mock the Terrans. Don't trust the quiet ones. If Earth sends a message, you'd better listen. Because the next sound might be your last. The Helix Concord had begun to fracture. Their alliances crumbling not from war, but from inside, by something they couldn't trace, couldn't predict, and couldn't reason with. Because they thought they'd destroyed Earth's strength. What they'd actually done was wake it up. One Lord remained. And he wasn't hiding. He was preparing. Because he believed he could outplay the Warden. Trap him. Kill him. And in doing so, he had already failed. Lord Emex was not like the others. He didn't drink during meetings. He didn't grandstand in public forums or mock Earth with trending memes. He was a planner, a strategist, and the last remaining Lord of the Helix Concord. While the others had bled, vanished, or been broken, Emex had quietly fortified. He had expected retaliation, not silence. And that silence had frightened him more than 1,000 ships in orbit. He had watched the Warden's work unfold like a pattern, each death precise, methodical, not just punishment but a message. Still, he believed in control. And he believed that he, unlike the others, could break the pattern. His vessel, the Sovereign Coil, was a fortress among stars. Mobile, shielded by 5 layered energy fields, armed with automated defense rings that pulsed like a halo of fire around the central hull. Inside, he built a secure room buried beneath 16 meters of neutron-reinforced plating. The room had no door, no vent, no wireless signal. It was isolated even from his own crew. He called it the clean cell. Only one way in. Only one way out. And he was the only one with access. Amex sat alone inside that cell, running simulations. He played footage from the Warden's past kills again and again, analyzing patterns, looking for breaks in behavior. He mapped probable paths, cross-referenced galactic travel pulses, tested for anomalies. Nothing came up. No trace. Not even ion drift. It was as if the Warden didn't move through space. He simply appeared. That meant no standard interception would work. No defense grid. No preemptive strike. Emex concluded one thing with absolute clarity. The only way to stop Earth's Warden was to bait him. So Emex made a broadcast. A short one. Direct. To the silent killer among us. I am Lord Emex. You've taken my allies. My enemies. You've reduced the ruling Concord to fear and whispers. But I do not fear ghosts. Come find me. You'll learn I've said a different kind of sentence. The feed ended. Every system watched. Some called him brave. Others called him a fool. But no one laughed anymore. For 3 days, nothing happened. No flickers in the grid. No power failures. No unexplained sensor loss. The ship maintained full shield strength. Crew rotated on high alert. Surveillance ran hot. But on the 4th night, during Amex's standard biological recalibration cycle, the gravity inside the clean cell flickered. Just once. A whisper in the equilibrium. The kind of shift no untrained eye would catch. But Amex had trained himself to spot it. He opened his eyes. The room was the same. Untouched. Silent. Except for the fact that his breath suddenly clouded before him. It had grown colder. He stood calm but ready. On the table lay his only object, an emergency disruptor designed for single-use detonation at point blank. He reached for it. His hand stopped halfway. There, on the far wall, was a gloved handprint. It hadn't been there before. Emex backed toward the disruptor. Not panicked. Just calculating. If the Warden was here, he had already failed. But if this was a message, if the handprint meant he had time, he could flip the trap. Activate the internal magnetic lock and convert the cell into a kinetic compression chamber. Crush everything inside. He took the disruptor. Pressed the trigger. Nothing. The trigger was frozen. He stared at it. Not jammed. Not broken. Frozen solid. Ice crystals had formed across the internal ignition panel. He turned. There he was. Standing in the corner of the cell. A figure in matte black, no insignia, no reflection, no expression. masked, gloved, silent. The Warden. Emacs spoke. You're not supposed to exist. The Warden said nothing. I watched your pattern. I studied your kills. You always leave marks. You make it theatrical. Still nothing. Emacs steadied his breath. You want me afraid. But I'm not. A moment passed. Then, finally, the Warden moved. Not fast. Not slow. Just forward. Step by step, until he stood directly across from Emacs, less than a meter apart. Then he spoke. One sentence. There is no fear. Only balance. Emacs lunged. The Warden didn't flinch. In an instant, Emacs collapsed. No visible blow. No noise. Just motion, and then none. He lay still, pulse weak but alive. The Warden knelt beside him, took a small device from his wrist, and pressed it to Emacs's temple. A soft beep. A red light blinked once. Then he was gone. No flash. No shimmer. Just absence. Hours later, Emacs's crew found him, still breathing, no memory of what happened, just a symbol scorched into the floor beside his unconscious body. Earth's ambassador's crest. He had not been killed. He had been sentenced. Across the galaxy, the broadcast returned. One final message. Sentence carried. Harmony restored. The Helix Concord was dissolved by unanimous vote from remaining member worlds. The term, Concord, was stripped from diplomatic language. A new treaty was drafted, not with signatures, but with shared silence. Earth's representative, faceless, unnamed, simply nodded when shown the final draft. That was enough. On Earth, in the facility with no name, the hallway dimmed. The reinforced door opened. The Warden walked in. He removed the gloves, set them down. Removed the mask, set it beside them. And sat. No words. No celebration. Just the quiet return to stillness. The lights faded. The lock sealed. One guard whispered, "Will he ever come out again?" Another replied, "Only if the universe forgets." And in the dark, the Warden waited. Not asleep. Just listening.